I'm really not sure what happened there. The intro completely lagged, and instead of getting a nice cock and slab of cheese, you've just got our faces straight away. But here we are anyway on this delightful Wednesday. We've got a transfer that's been completed in May, can you believe it? And here to clear up all of your transfer haze right now, it's the man, the myth, the absolute in-the-know legend and transfer guru, Matt Hayes. How are you doing, Matty?
Well, I feel like I can't live up to that intro, but I appreciate it, Shan. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure coming on this channel to chat with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get much better than the cheese room, does it? And our resident student, what are you drinking tonight, James?
Heineken, because it's in the fridge. If I finish it, though, I've got, and Steve will approve of this, Johnny Walker's Black Label, so I might go on to that. Depends how long we're talking for and how much I need to drink. But thanks for having me on as ever. Great to be here.
I mean, things are pretty good at Spurs. It's not really driving me to drink right now. So, yeah. And here, we're talking transfers. Obviously, transfers mean money. And who else to discuss money and transfers with than our Chief Financial Officer, Stevie. How are you, Steve?
It's a very grand title for an accountant. I'm good. I am very, very good. I'm going to ask a reciprocal question to you because I already know, and it's quite cool. What are you drinking, Shan?
I have got pina colada with actual coconut cream. I didn't cheat. I did it properly. And in case I run out, I've got the rest. So
Check that out. I like it.
There we go. I mean, what more could you want on a Wednesday? It's not a school night. It's great. It's basically the Friday show, but
can people stop with that? I'm working tomorrow and Friday, so I've spent all of today with people saying to me, "Oh, what are your plans for the long weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah, working, mate. That's my plan."
I mean, it's very much self-inflicted, isn't it? Really.
I mean, it is because I can move my bank holidays to when I want, so I'll take them when I need them.
There we go. Anyway, without further ado, Ivan Perisic is the first signing of summer 2022. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited. I think it's an amazing signing for the club. I think it's a show of intent. It's the most un-Spurs-like signing ever. And it's just, I feel like I'm in a parallel universe. I'm going to come to you, Matt, because obviously you're the expert with all of this. How are you feeling about it?
It's an incredible signing. I think we kind of all expected from the last week anyway for the first signing to be Fraser Forster. I kind of prefer that it's, as much as I'm happy to sign Forster, I prefer that it's Perisic because, like you mentioned, it's a statement. It's a statement from the point of getting him in early, which we never seem to do back in Conte in that regard. Spurs signing a 33-year-old who is in a way a big financial commitment at almost £100,000 a week, showing we're back in Conte, and it's clearly a player that Conte has chosen. So we're going all out from minute one. You know, you always say actions speak louder than words. The words came out that we back Conte, but they've already shown that they're going to start doing that. And look, Perisic is 33, yes, but he's an absolutely immense athlete. He registered higher speeds in the Serie A than any Spurs player did last season. In the Premier League, obviously, Spurs players don't run in Serie A. So that in itself is a good start, but he fits so well into this system. He's so versatile. He can play in that left wing back role. He can play either side of the front three. He can play right wing back, where he did a little bit under Antonio Conte at Inter Milan as well. And he has end product with 19 goal contributions from left wing back in all competitions last season. It's a massive improvement on what we have. It's someone who can help the likes of Ryan Sessegnon and whatever young right wing back we sign, if it is Jed Spence, who can help them to grow into this system and into their position. Whatever way you look at it, this is a fantastic signing from Spurs. And the very fact that he was watching the game against Arsenal and who we were getting for the Champions League, I think is the best thing about it, probably.
Absolutely. And talking of his stats, we've got his Serie A stats here. Last season, he got 8 goals and 7 assists from wing back. I mean, at 32, that's pretty incredible, isn't it? It's the best goal returning season in a defensive role, I think, that he's had.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. It's been so long since we.
Oh my God! 1 second. Carry on talking.
I'll keep going. I thought you were giving out about what I was saying there. Yeah, look, it's been so long since we got a signing that, like, from minute one we can be excited about this. And look, there's obviously going to be a bedding in period and a bit of needing to adapt to playing in the Premier League. But he's a player who has played in so many different leagues. He's played in Belgium, in Germany, in Italy. He's played with different teams. He's won everywhere he's been. He's really good internationally as well. So he clearly has the ability to step into different teams and systems and stuff like that. And again, it's just backing Antonio Conte. And there were too many times last season when Reguilon down that left-hand side put in a bad ball. There's a couple of opportunities where he could have put the ball on the back of the net. There's one against Southampton, I remember in particular, where he just couldn't do it. You get something very different with Perisic, who knows how to put that ball in the back of the net. And it's really exciting to have that added creativity and added end product from someone outside of our front three, which we've been lacking for way too long.
Absolutely. I mean, James, how excited are you about this signing?
Very, very, very. He's a brilliant player. And I know there's always some comments about his age, but, you know, players are able to do it for longer and longer now. You know, like, look at Thiago Silva. He's in his mid-30s, still doing a good job, unfortunately, for Chelsea. He's a player Conte trusts. He's a player who works in his system. And, you know, all his underlying numbers are still really positive. I didn't realise, Matt, that he had recorded a quicker speed than any Spurs player. That's mental. He's 33 and he's quicker than anyone we have. Like,
and we have Son in our team.
Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely nuts. I mean, the way he'll be going, he'll still be playing for us when he's 45. I mean, this is the complete opposite of the signings we've historically made. So I don't know what Antonio Conte has from Daniel Levy. But thank you. This is good, because if we're making signings like this, even though it's on a free, this does say this shows the direction we are going in the transfer market. We're going to sign players who Conte wants and fit into the team, and again, it's on a free, so it's financially shrewd as well, even if it is reasonably big wages.
Absolutely. And Steve, when you met this guy, he must have whispered in your ear that this was coming, surely.
Lies. I whispered in his ear. I told him who to go and buy.
He obviously ran past you first, though, didn't he, Stevie?
Yeah, of course. That's definitely how it happens. But I think, everything that Matt and James have said, this is not a Tottenham signing of recent years, right? There's no resale value. He's experienced. He's, I've seen quite a few people on Twitter say over the hill. Clearly he's not. As Matt said, he's quick.
Oh my God.
Brilliant return. Speaking of returns, sounds like you're going to be returning that to the store. It sounds like it just broke. But he's a good player and he's versatile. And I think the importance more for me is a change in attitude of the club. So historically, as we've said, we'd be buying those 25-year-olds or a bit less for 25 million and kind of taking a bit of a punt and either hoping for some resale or hoping, they're going to grow as players and we can make a buck on them. This is not that type of player. So that means there's a change in tactics from a club. And that's good. That's really good. I'm not going to say backing Conte because far too many people tweet about backing Conte in a very negative way because it's, wrapped up in their own view of what backing Conte would be, and that will never be what the club end up doing. But I think we are backing Conte. I'm going to say it very quietly. So I think it's a great signing, and he's a great player as well. So intent from a club, and so I'm just getting distracted by the people behind it.
Whose idea was it to stream with my sister and her kids in the house? As you can hear, it's absolute chaos here tonight. My Hoover has just been thrown down the stairs.
Oh my!
Can you? Yeah, I mean, apologies, guys, and the night that Caller is in the comments stalking, so we can see everything that's going on. This is a very good question, Matt. Is he quicker with the ball or without the ball? Do you know?
I'm going to be completely honest and say I haven't a clue. I'm not going to lie.
Surely he's not going to be quicker. He's not going to be quicker with the ball, is he?
Well, so I don't think it really matters as long as he's got the footballing intelligence to know when to stop and pass, which Lucas doesn't have.
That's fair.
Do you think?
He definitely does, and like one thing I've seen from his highlights as well. I saw actually a brilliant compilation on Twitter where someone like was basically Perisic crossing the ball in, and then it would like transition to Kane putting away a similar cross and vice versa. It was a brilliant compilation. One thing I noticed from it is Perisic is really good at putting the ball into the box on the run. Like when he is going down that wing at full speed, he's able to wrap his foot around and put in drill it in low and hard, stand it up to the back post, whatever it is. He has that ability to put things like move the ball very well on the run. I'm not really sure Lucas has that, which is maybe where the lack of end product is coming from there. But for Perisic, definitely he 100% can.
Yeah, I mean,
heads caller is the thing I do best, mate.
yeah, I mean, just look at him. I feel like we need to look at his face. I mean, doesn't it look beautiful?
And I don't know about the rest of you, and I know clearly in no interview is a player going to come into the club and say, okay, Tanguy's opening interview wasn't great, but say I want to be a bit lazy, don't really care. But he was saying all the right stuff, and this is somebody who's played a Conte before, so he knows he's in for an absolute nightmare of a training session, and the very best is going to be expected for him. And he still decided to re-sign for Conte, so that's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
One of my favourite things about that is the fact that when Conte first went into Inter Milan, he tried Perisic at wing back in a few preseason games and a few training games, and it just wasn't working. And they ended up loaning him out to Bayern Munich, where he won a lot, but wasn't exactly a mainstay in the team. And he came back a new person, and all of a sudden after a bit of competition with Ashley Young, he became the left wing back in that team. Had a few appearances at right wing back, but for Conte to want any player to follow him around the place, even if it was a player that was in that Inter team from minute one to right to when they lifted that trophy, that's a big compliment. But for someone to prove Conte wrong at Inter Milan, so wrong that he then wants to bring him with him to another team, I think is an incredible achievement and compliment that you can give to Perisic.
Do you know somebody else who proved him wrong, Matt? Who hopefully may be coming to us?
Is it Alessandro Bastoni?
No, I don't think he did. Eriksen.
Oh, I just love Bastoni. You got.
I mean, yeah, Bastoni we all want, but what about Eriksen? Clearly he wasn't. He was barely played by Conte to begin with.
Yeah,
proved him wrong.
He did, and it turned out to be a very important player in that title-winning season, playing in the number 10 role. Which, to be honest, Inter didn't really have any other player in that team that could have done that, and it proved to be really important for them winning the league. Do we think he's coming home?
50-50 for me, but I'd take him 100%.
I mean, I would absolutely have him. I think even if he's not going to play every game, but I think I've seen some say, is he going to suit Conte's style of play? Where will he fit in our system? But this is why you have a squad to be able to change things up when it's not working. You think, I know they're relegated and we're not going to play them in the Premier League this next season, but you think teams like Burnley, like Brighton, when Brighton play us, they sit back and they want to hit us on the counter. They sit in that low block, and I think having someone like Eriksen with his passing ability and then Perisic as well, it just gives us a little bit more option to unlock those kinds of game plans. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to let James talk this while I let the dogs out because the barking is getting on my nerves. One sec.
Well, you've just tempted fate now because we're going to get Burnley in the FA Cup and the League Cup now. Now that you've said that, most definitely. I mean, Eriksen would be a brilliant player to get in. It's nice to be able to switch between 3 in the midfield and 2 in the midfield, which we can't really do at the moment because we have 3 midfielders unless you want Harry Winks to play, which you don't. And they're all quite similar. It's nice to have a variety of players. He could maybe even play in the front line. Comparing Perisic to Reggie is night and day. Perisic's expected goals is higher than Reggie's. His expected assists is higher. He completes more pressures in the final third. He completes double the amount of progressive carries, about double the amount of progressive passes. Of course, he has more minutes, but they're still way higher. He's just in basically every measurable statistic a better player, right? So it's a no-brainer. He's performing better even at 33. So it's just nuts to me. And what do we have at Spurs? We have Son and Kane, 2 of the most clinical finishers in the league. These guys consistently score we score in a lot of games, we'll win by above our XG, right? Because they're very clinical finishes. So if we have a guy who's getting high expected assists per game, right? Kane and Son are going to score those goals, right, from those chances. So I imagine he's going to get a lot of assists next season, like way more assists. Do you know how many goals Reggie has scored in his entire time at Spurs?
Is it 2?
2, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He scored. Perisic has scored 4 times those amount of goals in last season. And Reggie's, I think, expected goals last season was 3. So he's performing under XG, and Perisic is performing above his XG. So, yeah, like I say, night and day in terms of the quality between the two players.
And you're right. Imagine you're Kane. Yeah, Kane right now, on the assumption he stays, and clearly it's still not 100% clear, but he must be licking his lips. I mean, from Harry Kane, he's great in the air, some bit less so. But you got something like Perisic chucking the ball in constantly. Finally, we've got somebody who can cross the ball again. I'll be pretty happy. And I'm never happy, so.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and just say we're going to win the quadruple next season. We're going to do what Liverpool couldn't do, and we're winning it all. And on talking of winning it all, 80 people watching, and we're only on like 31 or 32 likes. People, what are you doing with your hands, as we always would say? Matty Hayes on the show deserves at least double that alone. And you've got the wonderful James and Stevie here as well. Come on, people. Hit that like button. And obviously John's telling me I'm right, which is obviously always worth a show because everyone knows this, right? So, yeah. I think, okay, coming on to Kane, obviously we're talking transfers, but I think with Kane, I'm 99.95% sure he is staying this season. What do you think, Matt?
I think he will. And it may be because there's no Man City to get him rather than him actively wanting to stay at Spurs. I think he does want to stay at Spurs, and he's happy with the direction of the club, with the ambition, with backing Conte, and that stuff. But I feel if City hadn't got Haaland and they came in for Kane this summer, he would still want that move. But thankfully, that's not an option. That's not a concern for us. I'll be honest, when Man City got Haaland, I felt Liverpool had to respond to that, and there was a part of me that thought they'd come in for Harry Kane. Alistair Gold said they were going to go in for Son if we didn't get Champions League, which is, for me, to be honest, even more terrifying. But thankfully, that because we have Champions League, that won't be an issue. And Harry Kane is, again, I don't think he's as important as Son, because I've seen way too many times where Son goes off the pitch and we completely lose all creativity. Whereas with Harry Kane, I think there's still something without him there. And that's obviously not a criticism of Kane. He's an absolutely unbelievable player. But the ideal scenario is having the two of them with Kulusevski and with hopefully another forward coming in this summer. And it looks like that's what we're going to have. And that for me is more exciting than whatever midfielder we can bring in. I think shoring up the defence is really important as well. But having 4 players, 4 world-class, bordering on world-class forwards that can help propel us to wherever we go is going to be absolutely crucial. And without Kane, without Son, that just doesn't happen.
I mean, absolutely. And there's this. If we win a trophy next season, I don't think Kane ever leaves. He'll be 60 and he'll be still holding the ball up in our centre midfield, spraying passes left, right and centre. I mean, glorious, isn't it, James?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no way he leaves. I don't think there's a way he leaves. He stays. He stays with Spurs. We'll build him a statue, or I don't know. We'll name a stand after him or something if we win anything. If he leaves, I will eat paper on stream. I will eat a piece of paper on stream if he leaves in this window. And that is something you can hold me to. I will eat paper because he won't leave.
Do you know who would actually like to eat some paper? Charlie Kane, after the failed move last summer. And actually, if anyone deserves a statue at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it is Charlie Kane for telling his brother to sign a contract that was so ridiculous, he is never going to be able to leave. So let's everyone in the comments say thank you, Charlie Kane.
Never thought we'd get to hear, did we?
I mean, what a guy. What a guy. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking exciting. But talking of exciting, maybe in a good way, in a bad way, in all the ways, what do we think of the prospect of signing this guy? Don't all speak at once.
I don't want to be the negative one here.
Well,
Matt,
you feel... Go on, Matt.
I think he's a very, very good prospect, and he will be a good signing. But if we get him in, we need another right wing back, because like Emerson, as Alistair Gold said, is expected to leave. Matt Doherty did really well in the last 4 games before injury, but it was only those 4 games. And bringing in Jed Spence, which look still isn't set in stone. You know, he said hopefully he's going to be playing with Forest, and I don't know if that was just a throwaway comment in the excitement of promotion, but there's not many players that can step up from the Championship and go straight into a Premier League team. Never mind a Champions League team. Never mind a wing back in an Antonio Conte team. So if Conte and Prachi have identified him as a good player, as someone that can get into that first team, fantastic. All for it. You know, whatever he wants, let's do it. But I just don't have faith that he, not him personally, but someone from there up into the Tottenham team can really make that step up. And worst case scenario, we have to get rid of Emerson and Doherty and then bring in Spence and another right wing back, because there's so much business that has to be done already. I don't think we can really afford to start doubling up on what we need to do in certain positions. And I know people are going to get annoyed at that, but I personally just don't really get the loving for Spence. I did really enjoy the tweet he put up to Neil Warnock. Aside from that, I'm not too gone.
I wouldn't rate one of our players doing that to Conte, but because it's Warnock, it's perfectly acceptable, right?
Said he's dead 5 minutes later. Imagine doing that to Conte.
You'd be buried underneath the training ground by now if you did that to Conte.
It's a nice new flower bed in the training ground, right?
You would know, Stevie. You've seen it a few times.
Only once, sadly. Only once.
Oh, okay, I'd forgotten you'd actually been.
I've mentioned it for at least 2 days. At least 2 days.
I mean, yeah, the thing is with Spence, I think, by the way, you just said about selling Doherty. That can never happen. I don't know what I'd do with myself if Doherty was to go. I think I'd cry. I think I'd be more upset than Bale when he left the first time. I genuinely think I'd have some sort of emotional breakdown. Yeah, I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. I love that guy. He's great. But yeah, no, I do think we need more of a proven doing it at the top level, like Hakimi, but that's never going to happen. That's
he's got as many yellow cards as he does assists this season.
But Jed Spence?
Yes, 4. Like, come on, 6 goal contributions in the Championship. Antonio Conte? No. Someone better? No.
He did smash up Arsenal though, and Leicester.
Get him in. Sign him. Yeah. Done deal.
And he has thrown a lot of shade at Arsenal in his past tweets, which have been very enjoyable to read.
Done deal.
I mean, I think I'd 100% be up for signing him, because he's going to be, 15, 20 million, Matt? So not a lot of money. He's young. He's got the good old, sell-on value because he's young, so we're not going to lose on him, even if he doesn't work out. But if we sign him as our, number 1 right wing back, that's not where we need to be as a club. If we sign him as somebody to come on in cup games, to play against, I was going to say lower Champions League teams, but you don't get many of them. But, to play in the occasional league game, injury cover, and to learn his trade, I'm so up for that. But if he's going to be our number 1, he's not good enough yet. He may be, but he's not good enough yet, especially as I think James said in the Conte team.
I think the thing is his attitude as well. I mean, we can all laugh about his shade at Neil Warnock, but in reality, it's not a good look, is it? And when you've got a club like Spurs that are coming after you, Spurs are going to look at that and think, nah. I mean, you look at Dele, you look at Ndombele, we don't need another player with that sort of attitude, I think. So Can we
split? Sorry, we need to split Dele and Tanguy. So my personal view, and very strong personal view, Tanguy can jog on, but he'll never jog, will he? Tanguy can walk on.
Tanguy can slowly walk.
Yeah.
Snail pace.
and
away.
throwing his gloves in disgust because Dele I feel sorry for. I think he got too big too soon. The fact that I don't know if I mentioned when I did the training ground tour, we got mentioned by a few people that Dele is still loved at Spurs. The only photos we saw in the players' area were players with Dele Alli, apart from one of some by himself. He's a huge part of Spurs. That the players loved him, the training staff loved him, and he went off the rails. And I don't think it was necessarily his fault. I think he had some very bad guidance, whether that's from the family. Obviously, I don't know them, so I'm not throwing shade at them, or from the club. And he got too much into non-game activities, and he couldn't get his mojo back. But I think he cared, and I think he really tried. And you could see how frustrated he was and how hurt he was when he was playing badly. So I do think they're very different. But I do think Spence could be another Dele, where he can come into the club, play really well for a couple of years, goes to his head, gets an ego, gets a name some clothing fashion deal, get a load of sponsorship in, lose sight of what his actual day job is, and then just lose that. And I wouldn't want that again. So I think if we did get him, we'd need to protect him a bit better than I think we did Dele.
I remember this. This is a bit random, but in regards to Dele, I remember going to at Wembley, West Ham, Spurs, back when we were playing there under Poch, and we lost 3-2. And I remember being sat on the miserable car home ride with my dad, listening to TalkSport, and a Man U fan came on to talk about Dele, and he said, "You can complain about him giving away silly fouls, but if he loses that aggression and rawness and a bit of energy, you'll end up with a player that's just lost it." And unironically, I think that Man U fan was completely correct in hindsight, actually, in a lot of ways. Too many things affected him, and he just kind of lost that in his head. There's obviously wasn't something quite right there, which is sad, really. But no, and Ndombele I have a personal grudge against, because on my birthday, he couldn't hack it against Morecambe in League One, and then he walked off the pitch. I would have ran off quicker than the pitch, and I was drunk by that point. So come on, not good enough. 200 grand a week. I'd do it. I'd pay 200 quid to do that. Come on.
By the way, Steve can vouch that I think that day, me and James, obviously both very vocal and opinionated people, when that happened, were probably very, very angry. Can you concur, Steve?
Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it was a very fun day out because you're lovely people. And Mac will have to join us one day, but it was a very Spursy day, wasn't it? And even when we won, it didn't feel that great. We felt a bit like a banter club that day, and we were bad.
The only thing that made that day better was Arsenal getting knocked out by Nottingham Forest. That's the only thing that made that day okay.
Which brings us back to Spence, doesn't it?
Which brings us back to Spence, nicely rounded off. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate that signing, but I think we need to be going for proven. I don't know what proven looks like. Matt, who would you love to see in that position up?
I mean, I agree with you. Ashraf Hakimi is the dream signing. I saw someone mention in the comments that he wants out. I don't know how true that is, but I just don't think we're at that level yet where we can attract the elite of the elite. It's better with Conte, with Paratici, with the Champions League. We can certainly attract better players than we did last season, but I think that's still out of the realms of our capabilities. Wilfried Singo from Torino, who's been mentioned, seems to fit a lot of the characteristics and traits that we're looking for, and that he's not the absolute best going forward, but he's good there as well. He's also good defensively. He's probably a bit more balanced maybe than what say Perisic and Kostic on the other side are. But I haven't seen any name linked to us in right wing back that really gets me excited, like I suppose like Perisic and Kostic. And for me, there's always been this weird thing with wing backs where there's always the really, really good ones and then just everybody else. Like you don't really know of any good, solid, proper wing backs, which is a bit strange. But I know Ricardo Pereira from Leicester has been mentioned. I'm not too convinced on that. I'm hoping a name is going to be plucked out soon that will get excited, but I'm kind of struggling to identify one myself.
I mean, we say we like think Matt Doherty is in that elite bracket of right wing backs, right? Just to confirm, just to clarify, Matt Doherty is up there with the best.
No comment. His name is unreal. I can stop there.
I mean, Stevie.
I'm with Matt. I've got no idea who we could go after. We need to go after somebody. And I guess it's a good point with Doherty and Spence. If we sign Spence, what would happen to Doherty? And he has, before Matt kicked him out of the table for 4 games, he has played really well and he seems to come on. So I think he should be given a chance because lots of players, particularly in wing-back positions, have been given chances by Conte and have been transformed by Conte. Do I think Doherty's going to be an absolute well-beaten, one of the best in the world? No, clearly not. But I don't know who else we can get. It's kind of slim pickings at the moment, unless you go, like Matt said, elite. And we're not signing Hakimi. Like, absolutely zero chance. I will eat paper on this show if we sign Hakimi.
I mean, I've just rolled my eyes reading this because I think if we go after this guy after he's mugged us off, 2 or 3 times, then we're just idiots. But what do you think about this, Phil? Most will disagree, but I think Traore at right wing back could still be a great option. Do you have words? Find your voice.
He's a terrible option, is he?
I just think he didn't want to come like 2-3 times. Why should we have? Why would we get him now?
Aren't Barcelona his boyhood club, right? So he wanted to play for Barcelona, right? Would he be a terrible option? No. He probably wouldn't cost tons, right? Because there's like a year left in his deal, right? So that would be dreadful. I don't know. Conte turned Victor Moses into a pretty good right wing back that won the league, so he has similar like physical characteristics. I don't know. I mean, Jed Spence isn't good enough. The only way I'm happy if we sign him is if he goes out on loan for a season or 2, so he's like an asset, right? That seems a weird way to describe the person, but I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's better to sign someone who's different than to sign nobody. I suppose, right? Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of unsure on that. Maybe if we were playing like a 3-5-2, right? So the wing backs are pushed up a bit higher because you've got one of the midfielders who's sitting deeper. Then I can see that. But I can't see him playing in like the 3-4-3 that we play as a wing back. So maybe as like a Royal replacement, I can kind of see that. But yeah, I don't know. It would seem odd if we went for him. It would seem like a Nuno situation, like you're our last choice sort of thing, if you get me.
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather keep Emerson than sign Traore. Matt?
Yeah, I just want to preface this by the way. So, Giovanni Lo Celso just had a shot cleared off the line by Alessandro Bastoni and was then subbed off for Paulo Dybala. And I find it funny that he's our least favourite out of those 3 players. He's the only one who plays for us. But look, with Traore, I know Paul O'Keefe said on Twitter that we're looking for a fast, strong, pacey winger. And he does fit that bill. But what we're lacking in the wing-back position with all 4 of our wing-backs is end product. And why would you bring in a player who his entire career, the only criticism people have given him is the end product? And look, if any manager is going to be able to get that out of him, it is Antonio Conte. And when we're so reliant on wing-backs being in space and being able to carry the ball, Traore is a good option there. But there's no point in having that if when you get into a good position, things aren't really going to happen there. And I'd rather... We're not going to have Conte for 3, 4, 5 years unless a miracle happens, unless he falls in love with the club. That's just not going to happen. So I'd rather bring in a player who maybe isn't as fast, isn't as strong, isn't as used to the Premier League, but has the one thing that Conte absolutely demands, which is the ability to get assists and get goals as well. So I don't see why we bring in a player who just needs training and the one thing that Conte needs right now. And I think he did us a favour the couple of times he mugged us off and the couple of times he turned us down. I think we need to, what's the phrase? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern is that we'd have to spend most of our transfer budget on baby oil for him.
Well, look, that's another sponsorship for the Baby Oil Arena. Ready for that? You want that to happen?
The Johnson's baby oil. Yeah, stadium. Other brands are available, we must say. Oh, big mistake. Caller, I was trying to avoid this for reasons that you very well know. But we do have, courtesy of John, the results of the Cheese Room Gareth Bale poll. Can I get a drum roll, please? And the results are, of course, everyone wants him back. I can't even get rid of Caller's comment now. There we go. Of course, everyone wants him back. 62%, a resounding yes to try and sign Gareth Bale this summer. James, I know that you've got a deep, undying affection for Gareth Bale, so take it away. I'll let you start.
Well, this is a great day for democracy and for this football club. That's what I feel. Yes, Gareth Bale back. He scored like 15 goals for us in his season when he was only playing and half fit under a manager who didn't really like him in a system that didn't really suit him. He's better than basically everyone in our attacking front line other than Son and Kane. You're a madman if you don't want him back, Dave. I'm Welsh, so of course I want him back. He's going to be motivated to be fit for the World Cup because we're going to qualify for that. And, you know, he's not a bad option. And here's the big thing. He would prevent Harry Kane from taking free kicks.
This is very true.
How can you argue with that? How can you argue? We have no one at the club who can take a free kick other than Eric Dier, basically, because he scored one for England in the Euros in 2016, I think. Yeah.
Well, my pint was really angry. I'd queued nearly an hour for
that. I mean, I'm sure that you managed to get another pint, Stevie. Eric Dier scoring at the Euros. By the way, Gareth, we'll come on to that after. I'm getting sidetracked. I haven't had my moment to completely slate Gareth Southgate yet, but it will come. His time will come. Gareth Bale, Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta want him, right? He came back in that was the season before, the one that's just over, and the fact that he didn't get played very much until the latter stage of the season. He still ended up, it was 11 or 12 goals in the Premier League. It was really good for us in Europe as well. He had the best goals per minute ratio in the Premier League by an absolute long stretch. He's just incredibly talented. The problem is with fitness and how much money it would actually take to bring him in, because maybe he might be looking for one last payday. If not, I personally think if he doesn't get that big payday, he'll go back to Cardiff and have a nice, lovely few years at the end of his career, score a couple of goals for his hometown club, and then, I don't know, go to some fancy resort and play golf for 40 years. But he is one of the best things that has happened to this club on the football pitch, I'd say, in the last decade or two at least. And it may be a nostalgia, and it may be the romantic side of things to want him back, but he's also just a very good footballer. And, you know, he's got that kind of that bite about him as well. I know the flag he had was at Wales, Golf, Madrid in that order. The post he put up when he was leaving today, where he thanked everybody, the players, the coaches, the president, and the fans who supported me. I love that. And I love Bale. Please come home.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great for him to get his last hurrah in a full, packed out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, wouldn't it, Steve?
It would. And I think, you know, the very kind of blunt accounting financial view of it is, you know, he's probably going to be relatively net neutral in terms of cost. Obviously, there's going to be no signing fee. You know, salary is probably going to be fairly high, but he's going to you know, sell us quite a few shirts. So I can't imagine. Sorry if you can hear the background noise. I've got two nieces over, and they are loud, almost as loud as Shan's dogs. But yeah, I don't think it's going to cost us that much net. So I'm not really seeing the risk. Like, if he came and he bombed a little bit, what's a Bale bomb? He may only score a few goals for us against lower league teams. And likewise with Ericsson, I'm sure we'll discuss in a second. If we've got Bale and Ericsson on the bench, I mean, they're not bad players to bring on. And you need to win a game, and we're playing against lower league opposition, and they've parked a bus against us. So I can't see a downside. I cannot see a downside.
So as Caller says, there has been beef in the Room of Cheese about this. And it is basically the Room of Cheese versus Davo, who wholeheartedly does not want to see Gareth Bale back at the club. And he is entitled to his opinion, whether it is right or wrong.
It's wrong.
Wrong.
He's Crassus in a room filled with Caesars and Ciceros. No one gets that joke. No, like, who would you rather have coming off the bench if it's like 0-0 in a game against some team that's sitting deep? 65th minute, Antonio Conte looks to his bench. Who would you rather see? Christian Eriksen and Gareth Bale, or Harry Winks and Lucas Moura? That's a difficult question, I know. Very difficult question. But I think Eriksen and Bale might just edge it a little bit, just about. I mean, yeah, he can play up front more competently than Moura, right? He can play there. He's got a bit of physique. You know, he can score a few goals. He plays for Wales there moderately competently. He can take free kicks, relatively low risk. I don't think his wages would be that high. He's made loads of money at Madrid. I mean, there's loads of rumours he'd go back to Cardiff. They can't afford very much. If he's willing to go to Cardiff, I can't imagine he's going to ask us for like 600k a week. I'm sure he'd just be happy to take a similar wage to like Kulusevski or Moura, right? You know, I don't take the piss with it. There's no signing fee. We'll sell loads of shirts. I might even buy one. I mean, you know, he's better than our current backup options.
Yep. It's low risk, isn't it, James? It's low risk.
There's no risk. And, you know,
with the amount of games we're going to be playing next season, we need squad depth. Kulusevski's going to be our starting right forward next season. He is. But you need rotation. And who better for Kulusevski to learn from than from the absolute legend of cutting in from the wing to the inside and curling one in with his left foot. Gareth Bale is actually the master of, like, Kulusevski is Bale light. Who better to improve Kulusevski than GB himself? James.
This is how many the number of fingers I have is how many Champions League titles Gareth Bale has. Enough said. Simple as. That's all you need to do.
What do you think we lack in the team? How many finals have we been to? A lot.
We need winning mentality. We need people that aren't going to bottle it when it comes to it. When it comes to those biggest games, we need someone that's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck, like a Perisic, like a Gareth Bale, and be like, come on, boys, we're better than them. We're going to win this. And not just think, they're better than us. We're going to roll over and have our bellies tickled. What do you think, Matt?
I just think it's really funny that we're talking about battling cup finals and need people who don't do that. And I've just tweeted, have you lost a cup final? Well, you fit right in at Tottenham, and then a picture of Alessandro Bastoni because they've lost 3-0. So it's lovely timing on that one. But yeah, we need that winning mentality. And Bale, fair enough, wasn't involved in the last Champions League win, but he won the game against Liverpool. He won the game, was it against Juventus? He won the game against Atletico Madrid. He provides on the big stage. You know, the last 4 cup finals that Tottenham have been in, they haven't even scored. We need someone who knows who's been through the big stage like that, who's been the man that a team has relied on, who knows and has that hunger to go on and win more trophies. And Bale is absolutely one of many players I think we're looking at who fits that. But the only downside I can see to Bale signing is the financial side of things. If that can be sorted, it's an absolute no-brainer. And I'm kind of annoyed with the reports from Alistair Gold that as a Conte perhaps you like him, but they're just not sure it's the right move. It really is. It really is. Look, maybe it's better that the people making that decision are doing it purely from a footballing standpoint and not looking at the nostalgia side of things. Maybe that is a bonus, but I just disagree with that decision they've come to.
To confirm, Gareth Bale plays on the right wing and is left-footed, which is the same as Dejan Kulusevski, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Plays on the right wing, left-footed, cuts in and curls him in with his left foot, exactly the same. Obviously, with a lot more experience, but Kulusevski can still learn a lot from Gareth Bale, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, people just keep walking behind me, don't they? It's very, very distracting. It's what else have we got in here? Let's have a look.
It's like you're in the Sky Sports studio where they have all the workers behind. Just say they're your minions.
But Steven Bergwijn, and I'd love to get some people's opinion on this. Serious chances for Steven Bergwijn to leave Tottenham in the summer, as Perisic is joining the club too. Plan is still the same. Ajax have his name on the list since January. There are many clubs interested in him. Race still open. Would you be too upset to see Stevie go, Stevie?
Yep.
Your namesake?
Yep, 100%. I like him a lot. Like, he's never truly had a chance of us, either through injury or through the fact that niece has come down in a prom dress with the other niece. I've got no idea what's going on in this house right now. The calamity show in the cheese room tonight. We've got prom dresses, we've got dogs, we've got interludes.
Hoover's getting battered everywhere they go.
Day old Coke and James with IT issues. So where even he plays very well internationally. He's a very good player. He hasn't been given the proper chance. I like him a lot. He is absolutely stacked. Like, when you see him up close in real life, he's a big guy. So I think he's well suited for the Premier League. Very quick. I would not want to be a defender in the last 20, 30 minutes of a game when it's a bit tired, and he comes on. So he's quick and he's strong. And he's missed a few, particularly against Liverpool, where he got a lot of awful hate from Spurs fans, which is unacceptable. But he's got an eye for goal. So I'd 100% keep him. He's not a first teamer, but he's a good squad player. And we're going to be playing a lot of games next season, so we need players like him about. And we're not going to get much money for him anyway. So kind of why, a bit like Bale's a no-brainer to bring in, because he's no particular gain, or no particular loss. We're not going to get much from selling Stevie, so why get rid of him? And he can play a part. Unlike Winks, where we're going to get at least 30, 40 million, according to Caller. Caller's currently doing this, typing very angrily somewhere near Rugby or up north, wherever he lives.
Shan, you're muted, if you weren't aware.
It's because everyone's making so much mess. I think there's a Marvel film going on in the background. It's very distracting. James, thoughts on Stevie?
Talented player, got lots of potential. Conte doesn't like him or trust him for whatever reason. He wants to leave. Yeah, it's a shame. But end of the day, if manager doesn't want him, player doesn't want to be there, not much you can do, is there? If we can get a decent fee for him from Ajax or wherever, then I guess that's it. It's a shame. Could have worked out. Seems like it hasn't. But, he's obviously a talented player. He's obviously got a lot to give. He's definitely a hell of a lot better than Mora, right? I'd much rather see Mora go, but I guess I guess the manager doesn't like him. He doesn't want to be here if he's not going to play. We all saw the thing he posted about the dirty supercar. It's unfortunate, but it seems like he wants to leave. Conte doesn't want him. It's a shame, but if Ajax will cough up 20-something million, then I guess he'll leave.
Well, isn't it a case of, and I can't remember who said this, maybe Matt or somebody, and I guess it's guesswork, not so much Conte doesn't want him, it's more the fact that Conte sees him not as a kind of like Lucas replacement, but more of a Kane replacement. So he brings him on to replace Kane, he doesn't bring him on to replace Moore. So that means his game time is limited.
I mean, Matt, can you please clear the haze on this situation, please?
Yeah, I think Bergwijn wants this move more than anybody at the club, and with the direction and trajectory that we're hoping to go on. If someone wants to go, it's probably best for it to happen. Look, I agree. I think he does offer something to this team, and he's shown on more than one occasion the quality that he does have. I mean, that debut against Manchester City where he scored that goal, the volley at the Tottenham Stadium for the 1-0 win, I think he scored in his first 4 home games, of course, that night at Leicester as well. He does have quality, but maybe he's just that type of player that needs consistent game time and needs to be playing week in, week out in order to be able to keep that going for long periods of time. And it's just not going to happen for him. And from a personal standpoint, he may not be happy in London. He may not be happy at Spurs. He wants to get back into that Netherlands squad. He's been very vocal about that. And going back to a league, obviously a different club, going back to a league where he played his best time, it's obviously his home in the Netherlands. It probably just makes sense for him to do that. And I do think he's a good option, but he's an option as a backup player, as a player who can come on for the last 10, 15 minutes. And like you mentioned earlier, Shan, with the amount of games that we're going to be playing next season, and I was kind of confused when we were being linked, especially to Raheem Sterling, when people are saying, who does he replace? Who does he start ahead of? Well, nobody. But we're going to be playing 50, 60 games next season. They're all going to get, 30, 35 games to start. I don't think we can trust Bergwijn to be in that position. And this is probably just where we need to start thinking as a bigger club and looking at the depth that we need. And like with the signings we're making, we're not signing depth, we're signing first team players. Then the players that are in our first team now, who are going to be replaced, all of a sudden become our depth. But they're the players that we were able to trust to get us into the Champions League. I think that's the level we need to be at, and that's the mentality we need to have. No criticism of Bergwijn. I just don't think he's on that level.
I mean, that's understandable. Like, Caller is harassing me, like serious harassment, as to what I'm going to do at 100 likes. I'm going to say our panel this evening can vote. What would you like to see me do at 100 likes, Matt?
Throw the Hoover down the stairs again.
Absolutely not. That Hoover is expensive.
I don't know. I'm at a loss. What usually happens?
Singing.
You make me sing or down something or do something stupid.
Your singing can't smile without you.
Oh, okay. I got banned from singing that on Monday. Steve?
I mean, I've got to echo Matt on that.
Colin's going to regret this.
Caller regrets most things. He doesn't think before he speaks.
Okay, it's 2-1. So basically, if we get to 100 likes, then apparently I've got to sing some Barry Manilow, which got vetoed on Monday. So I don't know if that will happen or not, but the panel have spoken. And Caller, you were going to wish you never said anything.
But if Stevie does go, I think he goes with a bit of love. Because he's been a good player for us. He's tried, he hasn't quite worked out. Yeah, he goes in a very different way to how some other players will be going, hopefully. Mentioning no glove throwing names. So I think, wherever he goes, genuinely, I wish him well.
Yeah.
He's a good guy and good player. And I really hope he does well. Well corrected, Caller. I normally correct your grammar in the chat, so well done, mate.
Right. The moment we've all been talking about. Alessandro Bastoni. Matt, what's going on? What's the latest?
It's just all very confusing. Look, I'm going to repeat that as far as I know, Bastoni has agreed personal terms, and I think some people took that as he's signed a contract or he's put pen to paper. That's not the case. I think George Bannister, who got very similar information, the way he phrased it was that there's been an agreement with Alessandro Bastoni's representatives on this is what we will need if a deal does go ahead. And that seems to be what it is from Bastoni's point of view, that he's unsure if he wants to leave Inter Milan. He's unsure if this is the right time to make the step to the Premier League or to work with Antonio Conte again. But there is that fear that he's going to be forced out of Inter Milan because, I could go into the details of why they're in such financial trouble, but I'll spare you the boredom. They need to sell, and they need, according to reports, to make a €60 million profit in the window. So they're going to have to sacrifice a player. That could be Milan Skriniar, but he's come out today and said he wants to be a club legend. He wants to stay at the club. It could be Barella, but I feel they're going to ask for a lot more money than clubs will maybe be willing to pay for him. They said Lautaro Martinez is untouchable. I know they said that about Lukaku last summer as well, but surely they're not going to do that to their own fans 2 years in a row. So I think Bastoni could be sacrificed, and where better to go than team up with the man who molded you into the player that you are today, to join up with Antonio Conte. I know people are saying to lock him in his hotel room after this game in London tonight. I feel maybe that's not a good way to start the relationship between Bastoni and the fans. But I've been saying it since last summer. He's the perfect left centre back for this team. He's so good going forward on the ball. He's basically Romero on the left hand side, maybe a bit less rash and a bit better in the air. But they're just so similar. And he, like I said, Conte molded him for the three back system that he plays. He is the perfect option. There are other good options out there, but Bastoni is just incredible. And as Ishak says there, Paul O'Keefe is saying that we're preparing or the last he heard, we were preparing a €67 million package to try and sign Bastoni. And that's the type of figure it will take. Jack Pipbrook said a couple of months ago that we're willing to pay a club record fee to bring in a left centre back. And even back then, he had said Bastoni was our number one target. So for me, looking at this from the facts that we know, Conte wants to prioritise a left centre back. The number one target in that position is Bastoni. The club have injected £150 million. I know there's different technicalities on that. The majority of it looks to be going to investment in transfers. Piecing all those things together, I don't see why we wouldn't go all out for Bastoni. And maybe that's hope more than kind of logic looking at that. But I'm still quite confident that this is one that can get over the line.
I mean, Bastoni is going to wake up in the morning and open his hotel door, and this is what he's going to see. Literally. Stood there. They're just going to...
Where are Italy staying? They could be at the lodge.
They could be.
I don't actually...
They've played at the lodge before, haven't they?
They have.
During the Euros, wasn't it?
Yeah. Which is very Spursy because the team that stayed at the lodge obviously won the tournament and yeah.
Well, maybe that's the least Spursy thing. Someone staying where we stay, winning something.
Well, surely it's the most Spursy thing that other teams who use our facilities tend to win stuff and we never do. So ultimate Spursy. But I mean,
I'm not enjoying this negativity, Steve. We're winning it all next season.
We are, but genuinely a bit of positivity for you, Shan. I think if we sign Bastoni, and I think it is an if. Okay, cool. So stay at a lodge. So lock him in. Just lock him into his room. This is your room at Spurs from now on, mate. You're not leaving. But I think if we sign Bastoni, it's another huge signing of intent, and we would have signed two of the best young defenders in Europe. And imagine, I know people have some misgivings about Dier, but I think he's pretty solid. He's not world class, but he's a good player, and he's a good organizer as well. When you see him on the pitch, he's a good organizer of defence. Imagine defence for under Conte, we haven't conceded many goals, and you add in Bastoni. That's suddenly a team where you think, okay, that team can win stuff. Just from a defence. We've got people talk about Hugo, but he's still a world-class goalkeeper. You would have potentially the best back three in the league, do we think?
I think so.
Pretty close to it.
Yeah.
I've said a lot that I think if we get Bastoni, we have still keep Romero, that's better than all of Ireland Vertonghen ever were for us. Because they offer a lot more defensively. Maybe the Belgian wall is more solid, but in terms of what they offer in a more balanced way, it's an incredible defense. And
the scary thing is, Romero is good going forward, right? I mean, sometimes he scares me because particularly late on in the game, you see him and he's the furthest forward Spurs player. He's in the bench. He's in the 6-yard box, but he's very good at carrying the ball forward. Bastoni's very good at carrying the ball forward. Dier either kicks it into touch or does a worldy, kind of De Bruyne style pass. It's one or the other, right? That's pretty good in terms of attacking ability as well, bringing the ball out from the back. So if, and I think it is an if, and Matt, I've heard the same from you, I haven't really got any in the know. I think it's 50-50 from what I've heard. And Caller, you should know this, mate, from the show that we did. The players don't get key cards; they get a code.
Which we could probably just. I know we don't have a squad number, but you probably guess the code, right?
You can probably guess the code. It's not exactly difficult. Squad number and year of birth, and they don't tend to change it. But they deliberately, for anybody who didn't listen to the other show, they deliberately don't get given a key card, so they can't lose it. They can always get into their rooms. So if we get Bastoni, it's already a decent window, right?
I mean, we've already signed Perisic, who's a elite wing back.
And then you add in people like Ericsson, free transfer. It feels like we're doing, and I know Liverpool aren't big in free transfers, but if we do go big on something like Bastoni and go big somewhere else, that's a Liverpool type transfer strategy where you don't do, and I'm feeding into David's book here. I apologise, but he's right, as he is quite often. We don't do the Spursy approach of buying one reasonably good player and a shed load of kind of fairly average take a punt on them players. Yeah, we get some good experience in free transfers, no brainer, and then you go and put some serious money behind some serious talent. I think if we genuinely do that, I don't think we'll win the league, but I'm pretty sure we'll win something next year.
Be my star.
We can dream.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, it's 3 years ago today since Madrid.
Oh, don't even Facebook memories can F off, quite frankly, because you never realise how annoying you are until you get your memories back, right? And I've just had so many posts coming back over the last couple of days of, today's the day, last sleep, big game. Little didn't know that excitement would last, 19 seconds or however long.
I mean, Musa Sissoko's like armpit is just ingrained forever in my soul. It's very emotional. Right. Talking about ins, let's talk about outs. What I want from you is 3 players that you would like to see leave the club, how much money you think we could get for them, and why you'd like to see them gone. I'm going to start with you, Matt.
The first one is going to be a little bit controversial. I don't know if people really want this guy to leave, but I'm going to go with Harry Winks. He's atrocious. Like the FA Cup game last season against Everton, the one that we lost 5-4 after extra time. He came on, I think it was in extra time at 4-4, and like every time he got the ball, he tried to play it backwards and still couldn't. Like, when you play it backwards, just a safe ball to the centre back, he still couldn't manage to do that. And that just sums him up, I think, as a player. He used to be good. He used to be a prospect. He played really well in the Champions League, but that's gone. Forget about that. He needs to go. I'd say 12 to 15 million we could probably get for him. I'm sure teams have already been, anyone that did have an interest and sees us slap a £20 million price tag on that, probably have lost their interest. So we'll go 12 to 15 for him. Gio, 18 million, 20 million. Villarreal will probably, I think it will eventually happen there. And Ndombele, just to get that toxicity out. I mean, I was kind of not annoyed, but skeptical after the January window in terms of the outgoings, because on deadline day we let 4 players go and we brought in 2, and we're very, very weak in the midfield in terms of depth after that. And like James said earlier, your option for backup at the moment is Harry Winks. So getting Ndombele out, and maybe we could push to 25 million for him. So best case scenario with the 3 of them, that's 60 million. And hey, that pays for Bastoni, right?
Yeah, I feel like my niece has got all her friends to come on this show and like it just to hear me sing.
That's commitment to the cause. You get a group performance when it happens.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Okay, James, I want you to name a different 3. So you can't name Winks, Hill, or Ndombele. So I need a different 3. How much do you think we can get, and why do you want them to be gone?
Okay. Oh, I have to think a bit differently.
Glad I went first now.
Lucas, Royal, and Lucas, Royal, Sanchez. So we'll start with Lucas. Well, he said he's not leaving, so probably not very much money. Yeah, I just don't really think he's good enough, to be honest, as a player. I mean, he's weak output, not the best first touch, need to be doing a lot better on Antonio Conte's side. You know, there are better players for free available, right? Probably 10, 15 million. I wouldn't hate it if he stayed, but, you know, my big few aren't there. Royal, it's not wing back, not good enough going forward. Probably get 15, 20 million for him. Very few progressive passes or carries. Like, Doherty's making him look terrible. He's played well in some games. I know he really tries to be at Spurs, so maybe a loan, right? But I don't know. I just don't think he's at required standard. Yeah, 10, 15 million. Sanchez, set Aurier, but a centre-back, basically. Always look like there's a mistake in him. I remember years ago, my dad saying, oh, well, in a season or two, we'll probably sell him to Barcelona for like 70 million. Yeah, I mean, I wish. Yeah, when we're talking about players like Bastoni, Romero, even Dier, right? Sanchez doesn't fit in those sentences, does it? Like, I can think of better players from the French league who I'd rather play. Like Facundo Medina, I'd much rather have him. All of his numbers are way better, and he's an Argentinian lad playing for Lens. Like, he would actually be a very good alternative to Bastoni, by the way. But you know, those three, Sanchez, probably about 20 million, right? My big three would be a Ndombele and Winks, and yeah, like Gio probably. But Sanchez, Royal, Lucas. Bye. Steve's turn.
Right, you've got to name a different three. So who have we had? Sanchez, Royal, Lucas, Winks, and Ndombele, and Hill. I need a different three. Who would you like to see leave? How much money do you think we could get for them? And why do you want to see them gone?
I mean, we've got a really small squad, so you just named most of our squad. And I think that's the difficulty here, isn't it? Because we don't really have that much fat to trim out of the team. And what I don't want to happen is, you know, we sell 7, 8 players, and then we have to sign 15, 16 to kind of up our squad. I mean, I'm going to ignore you, Shan. I apologise, my friend. Tangy has got to go.
You can't break the rules. That's not how this works.
You can't not say Tangy. Ndombele's got to go. I disagree.
How much do you think we could get for him, and where do you think he could go?
He's got to go somewhere slow, right? So it's not going to be Premier League. It's not going to be Germany. Too physical, too quick. Italy or France? I think somewhere in France. I'm not particularly up with the French league, but one of the teams in France that's, you know, not quite Farmers League mentality, but isn't PSG. So probably back to Lyon or Monaco, something like that. I can't think where else he could go, and we're not going to get a lot for him.
MLS. Funny MLS into Miami. Send him to the US. He'll have all the food he could wish for there. I mean,
I'd prefer not Miami. You'd spend quite a bit of time in Miami in Florida, and there's a chance I'd run into him or go watch him again.
I mean, you're not
Imagine how Spursy is that if I go and watch a Miami game and he happens to be playing. That'd kill me right off, I think. But
do Inter Miami have a tunnel club, Steve? Would you be okay going to watch a Miami game?
I don't know if they do have a tunnel club, actually. I know quite a few American teams do, but that's a slightly different concept over there. But that's where we nicked it from, to be honest. And then City nicked it from us and built it quicker than we could. So technically, they got the first. Although City Tunnel Club is terrible, by the way. Very.
Everything about City is terrible. I mean,
too many people, not very good. Too complicated. How much will we get for him?
this is the golden question.
20 at most, because people have got us over a barrel. He's never going to play for Spurs again. So if I'm going on to that, if I'm going into that negotiation, I say to Daniel Levy, fine, you want 40 million for him. What are you going to do? Keep him on your books for 200k a week? No. Well, I think it's 120k plus bonuses, isn't it? We'll just snap him up on a loan deal. So I think other clubs have got us over a barrel on him. So I think 20 at most. Other than the players people have mentioned, I can't think of anybody else who wants to sell, but I will kick some of them into touch who I think we shouldn't sell. Sanchez, Jones, not a top player, I agree, but I'm more than happy with him sitting on our bench and coming off, particularly under Conte. And we've also got to be realistic, and I said this today though, we can't clear out the entire team and bring in an entire new team. Sanchez, maybe next year. Cool, let's get rid. Let's move on. This year, we've got much bigger priorities than getting rid of Sanchez. Because who are we going to bring in? We're going to bring in Bastoni as a record signing and another top centre-back. Spurs as a club are not going to spend knocking on, 150, 200 million in 3 seasons on centre-backs. We're never going to do that. Winks, agree, move him on. The Chelsea, I think we will move him on, but I don't want to because I think there's still a player there. He plays well from Argentina. He didn't have a proper run in our team. He had, like all the Argentinians we seem to get, had injury problems. Brian Hill, why would we sell him? We're not going to get much for him. He's a kid. Let's loan him out and keep him and see what he does. Maybe he becomes good. Maybe he doesn't, but we're not going to lose any more money. So I can't think of anybody else, Shan, to kind of add to the list because, quite frankly, Matt, and James have said everybody, and now we're down to what? Kane, Son, Hugo, Romero.
Well, no, we've got Tanganga, we've got Roden,
Tanganga.
Doherty.
Jack Clark.
But again, fine, we may move them on, but Tanganga we're going to get pennies for. He's a injured youth team player. We're not going to get who did we send? Matt, you'll know. Who did we send to Celtic? I always forget.
Carter Vickers.
Carter Vickers,
Carter Vickers, yeah.
We're getting 5-10 million?
6, I think. Yeah.
Pennies on a dollar for Spurs. It's not really going to do us any good. And having somebody like Tanganga in the squad, if he does come good, or for when we go and play Yeovil Town at home on a Tuesday night in the League Cup, play Tanganga. Don't play Romero because he's going to get injured or booked or sent off or something like that.
Or all 3.
Yeah, all 3 at once.
It's funny you say that because I think Romero has been much more disciplined in the back end of the season.
Only since Caller has started betting on him getting booked, which I find.
I love that.
Right. Okay.
Too long didn't listen to me was I think we need to sell a few but get much more in. And I'd rather us keep a few more squad players like a Sanchez, like a Tanganga, like a Roden. Apparently we're going to get all centre-backs on the team. I'd rather we keep those types of players rather than make a few million on them and get a bigger squad in because we're just going to need it.
So Steve.
No.
James and Matt have stitched me up royally and said that 100 likes and I had to sing Manilow. What would your choice be?
I've already given my choice. I agreed to Matt.
Oh, there we go. It's Manilow. Was it James? Did you give the choice? Or was it Steve that gave the choice?
James was away getting a beer.
Yeah, so James, you missed it. What would your song of choice be?
You won't know any of my choices, so it's
Spurs
redundant.
related songs, James.
Let's move on, shall we? No comment. No comment.
I was hoping for you to like rescue me from my inevitable fate.
I prefer not to speak. I'm enjoying this, so
Sorry, Arteta. I prefer not to speak.
It's Jose, isn't it?
Well, Jose.
Not commenting. Go for it.
What would you prefer to sing, Shan?
Well, there is this one. This is a good option.
No.
But look at what Christopher said. I feel like we keep just coming back to it.
Bloody hell.
And also, Kerry's choice is a great one, but you need to have 4,000 Spurs fans in the marketplace from the South Stand singing it.
I mean, I feel like Can't Smile Without You away at Norwich was probably a lot better than what this is going to be in my echoey dining room.
I mean, yeah, but away at Norwich was awesome.
Okay, I suppose this is going to have to happen, isn't it? Oh, I really don't enjoy this. Where is Caller? He stitched me up and then gone.
He's probably nursing an injury from last night.
I stitched up Shan.
Apparently he was too busy doing his toe pokes. He's probably got a broken toe, ain't he, or something stupid.
So for anybody who doesn't know the internal banter, and I know we sometimes have too much, Caller plays football every Tuesday. Good for him. Like, fantastic. For somebody getting one in his years, good to see him getting out and about. But literally, he complains for weeks afterwards about whichever injury he's got, and he's only played 4 games. He's done his back. He scraped his knee.
It was a scrape. Caller would make out as if he had some sort of crater in his knee.
My 13-year-old niece saw the photo and went, "He's the win." And God knows.
Yeah. Okay. I really don't want to do this.
We'll give you a round of applause after you're done.
Okay.
Depends whether it's good or not, James, isn't it?
No, it's called politeness.
Right. This is really awkward.
We believe in you, Shan.
We do.
I can hear them all talking about it in there.
Just think of how annoyed it'll make Caller. Surely that's enough. That'll get you over the line, right?
Another
here we go.
I'll sing something else.
Maybe I can do it in a Vlad accent.
No.
No.
Do not
Not
compliment.
Vlad. Although I feel like it would be in bad taste doing Vlad.
Stop procrastinating.
Ow! Guys, don't have kids. They're not even mine. It's enough to put me off. Right. Okay. I haven't even got any drink left. It's gone. This is sad time.
Would you like a countdown?
Okay. Okay. Right. I feel like it would be better if everyone did it together.
Okay.
No.
Trust
You're not
me.
weaseling your way out of this.
No.
Nobody wants to hear me do
That's not
that.
the agreement.
Can someone at least do the Tottenham bit?
Yes.
There we go. Right, it's a duet, Matty, right?
Let's do this.
Ready? Now you know I can't smile without you.
Tottenham.
Can't smile without you. If you only knew what I'm going through, I just can't smile without you. Matt.
Tottenham, sorry. This bit isn't usually covered in the TV. I don't know exactly where it goes.
There we go. That was beautiful.
Well done, Shan.
I would not have been able to do that.
You sung it better than my South Stand.
That's where this voice belongs, to be clear.
Beautiful, beautiful rendition. Another 100 likes and Shannon will do it again.
But this time in French.
We haven't put many comments up, and Shaban, apologies, not quite sure, do correct us, put up a very nice comment earlier.
One?
Yeah.
We'll read it out. Sorry, I was too busy warming up my vocal cords. So, Saban, if this is how you say it, honestly, I love your content and the quality amount of it you upload. I can't stop watching. I sometimes get intrigued for 2 hours watching. You deserve so much more. Thank you. That's very kind.
Very kind. And also put in the chat where you from. We've got quite a diverse group watching us, so good to hear some Spurs fans from around the globe.
Absolutely. Right, let's actually have a look at some comments.
Send in your hot takes to the comments.
Region. We're due to pay for him this summer. Is it 26 million euros, Matt?
I think it's 30. I think it's 30, and Real Madrid have the option to buy back for 45, which I think we can safely say isn't going to happen. Yeah. The option, the whole deal basically is being done this summer. I personally think Tottenham will try to sell to lighten the damage of the 30 that we have to give Real Madrid. It's unfortunate it didn't work out, but it's probably for the best, especially now that we've got Perisic and Sessegnon has a mentor to look up to that doesn't just lie about what he was doing on Christmas to get free ham.
I mean, that's very fair. I mean, I feel like Region is he's a popular guy, he's a likeable guy, but he has spent a lot of time injured this season as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is for the best. And hopefully,
I just want to say as well, I do actually like Reguilon. I really like Reguilon. He's a fantastic character, but on the footballing side of things, it just hasn't really worked out. Actually, I think I said it on here before. I bought the jersey he wore against Brighton. Still haven't got here. I might sue the club.
I mean, I'm not sure if this is true, Matt.
It isn't. It's not true. I checked as soon as it went in. I don't know if a fake account has gotten you there, Subhan, but unfortunately, it's not true. I'd love to see that happen, but I don't think.
Apparently, there's a lot of fake Romano accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to double check.
But I know I am a sucker for this, but sitting behind a bench, I see particularly a lot at the moment of, well, when we are playing, obviously not play season, of Reggie, when he's been injured. And he cares. He is living and breathing the team. And I tell you what, every bad decision, every goal we score, he's up on his feet and he's cheering or he's screaming his head off. I wouldn't move him on quite yet. So I think there's still a talent there and he's still young. So I think I'd keep him on, particularly behind Perisic. And again, 26 million, I mean, sounds ridiculous, isn't it? 26 million is not that much money. Hell of a lot to any of us, but to Spurs is not that much. So kind of get him on.
I mean, it's a shame he fits into Dave's 20 to 30 million bracket of failure.
It does. Oh, we've got the Hong Kong Supporters Club here. Eugene.
Oh. Good evening, Hong Kong Supporters Club. Or morning? Is it morning there? Afternoon?
Be morning, yeah.
Morning. There we go.
Hong Kong, one of my favourite cities. Amazing place to be. Brilliant nightlife. A lot of Spurs fans there as well. So I'm guessing they've got a good supporters club. And maybe chuck in the chat where you're based and hopefully get a few more members. So it's a top city. Top city. Love it over there.
Absolutely. Just as beautiful as the East Midlands.
Some would say more. Some would say more.
I mean, anyone in the comments that is from the East Midlands, lives in the East Midlands, some may know, some may not. I am the treasurer for East Midlands Spurs, the official supporters club for here. So if you ever want to join, get in touch. We've got a great group. Do meetups at matches. We've got a big group chat. Do some car shares, bits around tickets. It's good crack, good crack. So anyone from the East Midlands, reach out and we can get you signed up. £5 for the season, bargain.
I mean, you've got East Midlands. They've got Hong Kong, which means fragrant harbour. So, like, there's a lot of mystique and beauty going on there.
Fragrant Harbour or Skegness?
I'm going to type one as kebab remover, which is probably the best name I've ever seen. And I'll be doing have a kebab tonight. Happy Valley, probably the best place I've ever heard of. It's not what you think, Shan. It is not full of ruffles. It is like a happy place.
Right, okay. Moving swiftly on. What else have we got in here? Let's have a look, shall we? Right, we've done Perisic, we've done Bale, we've done Bergwijn, we've done Ericsson, we've done Spence. Let's talk about this absolute monstrosity. I mean, what do we make of this?
I mean, Kane should not be in there. And that's from a Spurs fan who obviously absolutely adores him. He was rubbish for the first 2, 3, 4 months of the season. Sadio Mane had a slow start to the season as well. For Son to win the Golden Boot, score crucial goals that propelled us to Champions League football, to be the key cog in a Conte machine that really was at its very best towards the end of the season, providing when it mattered. There's an argument that he should have won the award, but to not be in that top 6 is absolutely farcical. Mohamed Salah, since the African Cup of Nations, he's scored 4 or 5 goals. He's not really been all that. Cristiano Ronaldo, the best player of the United team, but finished 6th, didn't really achieve anything. I can't believe it. When the fans PFA award was out a couple of weeks ago, and Son wasn't in that either, and people were losing their mind, I was like, okay, calm down. He's going to be in the real award. He might win the real award, and here we are. It's atrocious. It really is. Is it the players that vote on this one? I think it is. How have they looked at Son and not thought he's one of the best players in the league at the moment? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And Eric Dier, as we all know, put out the gif with the glasses. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think we can all say Harry Kane should not have been in there, and Son definitely should have, Stevie. He won Player of the Season all 3 times for Spurs. All 3 Player of the Season awards he won.
Yeah, not even that. So I've got, as we've all got mates who've got other teams. All of them think he's been one of the absolute top players of the season in the league. So for him not to be on that list is beyond scandalous. Like, I don't know a club in the world where he wouldn't, maybe not quite walk into the first team. He may have a few difficulties at PSG, but they're just something else.
If Mbappe says it's okay, then I'm sure.
Mbappe says it's okay. But every non-Mbappe club, he's in a starting 11, and he's one of the 100%. Best players in a starting 11. So, and what I don't get is people like him. He's not I get why people don't quite like Kane. There's a bit of arrogance there. He's not great with the press. Kane isn't very lovable. Sonny's lovable. Like, I've got die-hard Arsenal mates who hate Spurs, and they love Son. I absolutely love him. So it's I don't get it.
I feel like I just need to bring this up because this, obviously, you may support Tottenham because of Harry Kane, but he certainly isn't the best thing that's happened to Tottenham in their history. I'd argue winning the double in the 60s was probably the best thing that happened in Tottenham history. And maybe even the club being founded being the best thing that's happened in Tottenham history. But Harry Kane, no player is bigger than the badge. We need to remember this. So,
I mean, you could say Daniel Levy's the best thing that's happened to Tottenham's history, but
controversial comments, Steve.
Ooh,
Wow.
you trying to wind Dave up, Steve?
yeah, I'm just trying to see if Davo's waking up.
I mean, some would say that Daniel Levy is the sexiest bald man on the planet. He's got to be up there. He's got to be in with a shout, hasn't he, Matt?
I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, Shan. I'm sorry.
That's probably going to be Alan Dixon, isn't it? His brother-in-law is probably a better-looking human being than Daniel Levy is.
Why are we talking about this?
I don't know.
Bald people.
I'm talking about brothels in Hong Kong. I'm talking about the sexiness of bald Spurs. We should go back to Shan.
Right. Okay. The last thing I want to discuss is Eric Dier not being in the England squad because it just makes my blood absolutely boil. Obviously, as president of the Eric Dier fan club over here, what has he got to do, Matt, to get into that England squad? Because I'm not being funny. Ben White isn't even the best Ben in London. Ben Davies has that title.
Mm-hmm.
Like Connor Cody, what the fuck? Harry Maguire was dropped from that awful Manchester United team and still gets picked. I don't know what he's paying Gareth Southgate, but whatever it is just, I don't understand it.
I think the worst thing we can do is probably try and make sense of it, because that suggests that Gareth Southgate. Now, look, this may be an unpopular opinion. I think Gareth Southgate is an absolutely awful manager. I don't think he's in any way beneficial for England to have. Look, got to good parts of tournaments, but with playing weak teams, I think there's no logic in anything that he does ever. And it's probably just proved right by Eric Dier not being in that team. I mean, Harry Maguire, wasn't he out partying in Magaluf 3-4 weeks ago when the season was coming to a close? Ben White, or Benjamin, as he's requested we call him, he showed in the last couple of games of the season that when the pressure is on, he turns off. Connor Cody's a good player. Mark Gahey had a good season. But there's no reason why Eric Dier shouldn't be in there. He was an absolute rock this season. And look, he makes mistakes every now and then. I think is it 110 games since he had an error leading to a goal, which I know that stat can be quite misleading at times. I think a couple of years ago when Kepa was the worst goalkeeper in the world, he's actually the only Premier League goalkeeper that didn't have one of those, so it can be a bit of a misleading stat. But Eric Dier, he's a leader. Something I didn't quite fully appreciate until I was at that Leicester game a couple of weeks ago, seeing how influential Eric Dier is off the ball, non-stop, 100% of the time, commanding the defence around him, keeping Christian Romero a little bit kind of composed and in position. You could argue that's what England are lacking in that defence, and the very fact that Southgate left him out and then tried to justify it by saying all the stupid stuff he did, it just makes me really, really angry, and glad I'm Irish.
I mean,
no offense.
Wow. James, what's he got to do? I know you're Welsh, so we've got an Irishman and a Welshman, so you probably don't care that much, but what's he got to do?
He could try sleeping with him. That might help. I don't know. Gareth Southgate's not very good. He got Middlesbrough relegated. Like, I don't know, man. Like, there are much better managers out there, right? I mean, aside from that, I don't know. It's just a very bizarre choice. The only thing I can conceivably think of is he's thought, well, I've played this bloke in a tournament before, and he was decent, and I know him, so I'll pick him. That's my level of thinking that I think went into the decision, which in a way does count, because characters and personalities and everyone in the dressing room getting on and knowing each other, that is good, right? But, the World Cup isn't for, 5 months, okay? You have time to build those relations up, right? Eric Dier is one of England's better centre-backs off form. He's been playing at a back three for Spurs, right? And probably off ability. the fact he's not there is just very, 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 very stupid, and shows that I would do a better job than Gareth Southgate. So, not that I would want the England job, but maybe if I send in my Football Manager CV, they'll give me a job. I don't know, but it's the wrong decision, right? If anyone can present a singular argument as to why it's the correct decision, then I'll drink something gross.
And then saying can't smile without you.
No, and then eat paper.
And then take the England job.
I'll play something on my guitar for everyone. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Stevie, my fellow Englishman.
I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Because Dier is not a worldie, but he's part of a defence that we concede no goals. I can't
Dier is the best English centre back at the minute.
Yeah, and he's also a leader. Every team, Matt, you said it, and we all think it. He's a leader. When you watch him live, he's an absolute beast to go back. He's marshalling a defence. He's getting people organised. He's quite frankly giving people shit. And sometimes he has to give himself shit. And somebody said in the chat, I can't remember who, but he tried to set up Norwich for their goal, and there's a shocking pass, and he has that in his bank. But as do all professional footballers, because they all do make mistakes.
I mean, Harry Kane is one of the best footballers in the world, and he slipped on his ass trying to attempt to take a free kick against Middlesbrough, and I saw it with my own eyes. So we can let Eric off that pass at Norwich, I think.
Exactly, and I think, he gives other players shit. I would not want to have a poor game next to Eric Dier, because I know he would chew me out, and I know he would, kind of give me a bit of a showing. So I think
not even that, but he plays mind games with the opposition as well. We've all seen that video of him going up to Tim Krul and saying, "What's Salah paying you?" Because he kept saving every single Sonny shot and letting all the others in. So, I mean, it's that sort of shithousery that you need on the pitch as well. It's a mind-blowing thing. I genuinely don't understand the logic behind it. There is no logic behind it. It's just ridiculous.
There's no logic. He does give the crowd a showing as well. I missed that actually. If I'd actually been in my seat, he would have walked a couple of seats away from me. Missed that. So that was Norwich as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was after the FA Cup loss, weren't it?
Yeah, it was
we lost on penalty.
What a night that was.
Yeah.
Look, as frustrating as it is for you guys to not see Eric Dier in that team, just count your blessings that your best centre-back option isn't Kieran Clark.
True.
Yeah. I hope that makes you feel better.
A little.
We're going to have Joe Rodon starting, so it could be worse, guys. Come on.
Exactly.
It could be. Look, Harry Winks would probably play for Wales, okay, if he was Welsh. So it could be worse, guys. You'll get out of groups and maybe win the World Cup, and we'll just be happy to get to the World Cup. So it's going to be fine, and I'm sure when Wales inevitably get knocked out, I'll end up being happy for England. But it's going to be fine.
What's a World Cup?
Yeah, I know what a Euros is, but I've never seen a World Cup.
So, question for the panel: is a half term, because we appear to have a small child in the chat, so it must be a half term.
It is.
Which one do you mean?
Isco McCandy.
This guy.
Oh.
Very original, no trophy FC. Doesn't look like a small child, does it? Unless it's on his dad's photo.
I mean, everyone in the comments, please tell Isco Mechanici that he is just a very silly man. Thank you.
No trophy FC. Wow. That. Did you think of that in your own? Did you
original, wasn't it, James? Original. When you go to uni next year, if you handed that in as your dissertation, you'd get marked down because there's clearly
plagiarism.
Plagiarism. That's the word I'm looking for, Shan.
The most annoying thing about that job for me is we're the sixth most successful team in English footballing history. You have 26 major honours, and that these records will be broken every day. Who has more league titles? Who's more FA Cups? Whatever. First non-league team to win an FA Cup. First English team to win a European Cup. First English team to do the double. That'll never be done again. It really. The jibe doesn't rile me up, but it's the lack of common sense and knowledge from the people who say that we never win trophies that annoys me. I kind of feel sorry for them, to be fair.
It's always Arsenal fans saying it as well, and we have more European trophies than they do. I managed to upset one on Twitter because they said, oh, no trophies. And I said, we have more European trophies than you. And he was like, nah, we've won the Cup Winners' Cup. And I was like, yes, and we still have more trophies than you. And that cup doesn't exist anymore. And then he insulted my appearance and blocked me. So obviously upset him.
That sounds about right.
But
I mean,
Arsenal fans.
On this note, guys, we've been going for an hour and 40 now. We've talked about all of the transfers. We've talked about Gareth Southgate being useless. We've talked about Ireland not knowing what a World Cup looks like. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to share my Wednesday. It definitely don't feel like a Wednesday, it feels like a Friday. But Matt,
Stop saying that.
And tell everyone where they can find you. I mean, these people must know where you are, but if they don't, educate.
My channel is Matt Hayes Tottenham Blog. I saw Ellie in the chat a second ago. Always a fantastic sport, the channels. Ellie's a legend. But yeah, Matt Hayes Tottenham Blog. I do transfer stuff, and then after that I do more transfer stuff, and then when that's quiet in my spare time, I'll do some transfer videos. I actually did a video today with an Inter Milan fan looking at Perisic and Bastoni, and basically getting the Inter Milan perspective on that. It was a really, really good show. It's on 4,500 views already, so I think people are enjoying it. So I'd appreciate any support over there, but the main thing is to, as always, hit that subscribe button here and keep getting the channel to 100 likes. You Shan keeps having to sing. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure coming on here and chatting Spurs.
Thanks, Matt. It's been glorious having you clear all the haze this evening, Stevie.
What I do.
Thank you for joining me. I mean, it's lovely.
All good, and hope to see you down Spurs as well. And yeah, just big up Matt. We always love having you on. Watch your videos, and think it was, as we said, back room. Like doing a show by yourself, no idea how you do it, mate. As much as I like to talk, and I think even I could talk that much. So you absolutely smash it. So yeah, everybody go to Matt's channel as well, guys. He's awesome, particularly on transfer stuff. He knows his stuff. Yeah. So yeah, been a pleasure. Hopefully in the next few days we're gonna have some more signings to talk about.
I mean, that would be wonderful. James, as ever, thank you for taking a break from the pub to join us here at the Cheese Room. We really do appreciate it.
Well, you are welcome for having me on. Yeah, I've had a busy day. I actually have. Thanks for having me on as ever. Lovely chatting with you, Matt, Steve, Shan, all of you. Always lovely. Feels good. Things are going to be good, guys. You know, positivity. Perisic, Bastoni. It's happening. Everything's happening. Come on.
I mean,
yeah, what's going wrong? What's going wrong? Like we've got Conte. Kane looks like he's going to be staying. We've got 150 million in. We've signed Perisic, great player. We're talking about Bastoni. Like we would not have been talking about Bastoni a couple of years ago because would have been laughed. Okay, Hakimi's a bit too much for us, but yeah, Bastoni would have never got anywhere close to. So yeah, it should be a big good summer.
Absolutely. And as always, thank you to everyone in the comments for all your likes, all your God, the words are evading me. All of your input, all of your comments, getting involved, giving us stuff to talk about. You guys, as ever, have been brilliant. But until Friday, when the team will be back again to talk Spurs some more, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.